Super Bowl 59 is now in history books, so that means that all 32 spots of the 2025 NFL Draft are now officially in place. So with that in mind, I think this is the perfect time to make a mock draft once again, so without any further ado, let's get the Titans on the clock. So with the first overall pick, Tennessee selects Cam Ward. The quarterback out of Miami is honestly the best fit for them at number 1. Ward has some good experience and the potential he displays makes him quite an interesting prospect. Moving on, the Browns select Abdul Carter. With Myles Garrett out of the equation, the Browns will try to make a push to keep a top tier D-line. Carter would be a day 1 starter and most certainly has the potential to be an impactful player since the very first week. At number 3, the Giants get Shedeur Sanders. New York will most likely get a quarterback if they want to have a solid foundation for the future. Sanders can be that guy, and so drafting him at this spot is at the very least logical. Up next, the Patriots get Travis Hunter. It is unlikely he makes it out of the top 3, but if he does, I think it would be foolish by the Pats not to take him. The Heisman winner has a case as the best player of this class, so I think that picking him at number 4 would be a steal for New England. With the 5th pick, the Jaguars then get Mason Graham. This one makes all the sense in the world, and I believe that the fit is honestly incredible. Graham is by far the best tackle of the class, so I would be shocked if Jacksonville passed on him here. Moving on, Will Johnson for the Raiders. This guy is the best corner in this entire draft class, and there's honestly no comparison. The Raiders would love to have a guy like him on defense, so I have them taking him without a lot of hesitation here at 6. And so at number 7, the Jets will get Will Campbell. They can very well use some help in the trenches, and this guy has been climbing up the draft boards non-stop. I like the fit, so I'll take the risk and mock him to New York this time around. Up next, the Panthers select Michael Williams. The defensive end out of Georgia can be a day 1 start in pretty much every single team. Williams is a good fit for Carolina, and I think they would much appreciate his defensive playmaking moving forward. At number 9, the Saints get James Pierce Jr. They don't have a lot of options here, especially with the top quarterback prospects already gone. However, Pierce can turn out to be a good addition, which is why I have New Orleans taking him here. Moving on, the Chicago Bears select Kelvin Banks. He can make a case as the number 1 tackle out of this class easily. With that in mind, it may be hard for him to fall to number 10, so if that happens, I think Chicago is taking him 100%. On to the 49ers, to Tyrone McMillan. With all the drama always surrounding their wide receivers, it could make sense to get some insurance. McMillan would be a powerful weapon over at the Bay, and I low-key think that the fit for him here is quite solid. Now for the Dallas Cowboys, Leather Burden. Pairing the Missouri wideout with CeeDee Lamb could be risky but have a huge payoff if it works out. Dallas is very interested in Ashton Jeanty, but I want to explore some other options for them because anything can happen. At number 13, the Dolphins then get Josh Simmons. This is an amazing scheme fit and would boost Miami's line right away. The game in the trenches is very important, which is why I have the Dolphins prioritizing it in round 1 of the draft. Up next, the Colts grab Malaki Starks. They can very well use the help at safety, and Starks has a case as the best option of this class. The fit is good, and I think that drafting him at number 14 is honestly quite a good spot for his talent and potential. Now for the Falcons, Nick Scardon. This guy has the potential to be a day 1 star wherever he lands, and Atlanta kind of needs that instant production. Scardon would provide versatility to a somewhat stiff defensive unit, which would open up the playmaking all around. Moving on to the Cardinals, Jalen Walker. He can be the team's number 1 linebacker since week 1 and there are no questions about that. Walker is insanely talented and if developed correctly could turn out to be one of the best defenders in the entire league. On to number 17, the Bengals select Shavon Rebel. They need to improve their defense if they want to have any sort of shot at the Super Bowl. Rebel could be Cincinnati's number 1 corner sooner rather than Portland later, and he's a solid foundational piece for the team heading onto the future. Up next, the Seahawks select Tyler Booker. The guard out of Alabama is so good that he could easily be a top 15 pick. Seattle would be getting an absolute unit in the interior of the offensive line for the foreseeable future, which is honestly amazing for a team. Moving on, the Buccaneers get Tyler Warren. It would frankly be quite surprising if he made it out of the top 15, but hey, anything can happen in the draft, and in this case, the Buccaneers will get lucky and get the best tight end of the class here at 19. With the 20th pick, the Denver Broncos then get Ashton Jeanty. It is unlikely he falls this far, but I think that Denver will not pass on him if available. Jeanty would provide his offense a much needed spark that could instantly boost them into serious playoff contenders. On to the Steelers, they get Emeka Buka. The wide receiver out of Ohio State would make a great pairing with George Pickens. Pittsburgh needs to boost their offense, and this guy is a great scheme fit, so I would love this pick for the Steelers. At number 22, the Chargers get Benjamin Morrison. The cornerback out of Notre Dame would provide quickness and explosiveness to an already good defense. Morrison could very well be a day one starter, and I think being coached by Jim Harbaugh would be highly beneficial to his game. Now for the Packers, Shamar Stewart. He has been up and down the draft boards because he has a lot of potential, but could also be considered a very risky prospect. I like him for Green Bay though, so I have them taking him at number 23. On to the Minnesota Vikings, Jahdae Barron. He can make a case as the most versatile player in this entire class. The Vikings had a solid defense last year, and I think Barron would provide the spark this group needs to become elite in 2025. With the 25th pick, the Texans select Walter Nolan. The defensive tackle out of Ole Miss is a perfect fit for this Texans defense. Nolan has some insane potential, and although this may not fill the biggest hole, I think would be definitely the right decision for Houston. Now for the LA Rams, Cameron Williams. Help can always be useful when it comes to the offensive line, especially in LA. The Rams would have a solid guide for the future in Williams, so I would honestly love this pick for them if it were to become a reality. Moving on, the Ravens get Mike Green. I think this guy is quite underrated and could end up being a star. Baltimore could very well use him right away, and I feel like the scheme fit makes some sense to say the least. At number 28, the Detroit Lions select Kenneth Grant. He would immediately turn this Lions D into one of the scariest ones out there. Grant could become a beast over in Detroit, and being coached by Dan Campbell would only be beneficial for him. Up next, Josh Connerly to the Commanders. He would be a good scheme fit, and taking him would provide instant protection to Jaden Daniels. He may not be the most talented lineman of the class, but I think taking him at number 29 can certainly be a good option for Washington. With the 30th pick, the Bills get Nick Emmanwori. Buffalo can most certainly improve on draft day, and this pick would help them do just that. This guy can be a day one starter, and I truthfully believe that he could have the potential to be a top 10 corner eventually. At number 31, the Chiefs select Colston Loveland. If he makes it out of the top 30, I think KC will definitely consider taking him. They have Travis Kelce already, but his career is nearly over, so getting a young guy to learn from him could be a winner move. And now for the Eagles, Matthew Golden. This is possibly the most complete roster in the NFL, so drafting can be hard for them since they are so good at every single position. Golden could provide a spark to this offense, but I definitely think Philly has a lot of options here at number 32. And so that's all for this mock draft. Thank you all so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you around.